Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So this is my group presentations and my name is Nur Hanani binti Muhammad Hamdan 264576. So I'm going to present the question 1, which is if you were Wyman, what action would you take and what could she have done to prevent the incident from happening? So let me tell you what is happening and what incident is happening in Kingjewels, where the operational manager, which is Lemon Tam, has manipulated the purchase record of the gemstone. Second, he received bribes or large rebates from the suppliers. Third, in order to hinder his unethical action, he gave a reward to the employees for them to shut their mouths from exposing his dishonest act to the management. I will Wyman, the finance manager in Kingjewels. I will report the case as soon as possible to the CEO or management Wang to know what currently happened in the company, because Wang has put his trust on Tom to manage the company, but Tom has crushed his trust by doing dishonest act behind his back. And although Tam is my brother, I will put aside my emotions and maintain my professionalism to conceal Tam wrongdoing. I can perform or check the personal purchasing records that made by Tams with the suppliers according on buying the gemstones. I will check his personal conversation or emails with the supplier about his dealing to get the rebates and the purchase price of the gemstones with the suppliers. And since Tom managed to maintain his lifestyles and his family lifestyles, where I could perform the net worth calculations to determine the unknown source of income, because as I can see that Tom's get the money not only from the income he being the operational manager, but he'll get a lot of money from the other side of income. And also Tom involved in the excessive gambling, where the networks calculations can verify the funds or the income he received from the supplier as the bribes. And from all the evidence I do the investigation, I will perform or conduct an interview with Tom's and the management to get his confession on his wrongdoings. And also I will include the statement or the key witnesses from the employees in the production at China to give their statement about the Tom wrongdoing, since they know what happened from in the production of the jewelry. She done to prevent the incident from happening in the Kingjewels. First, she can be the whistleblower as soon as she discovers the malpractices happen in the company. Second, she can do the regular checking or monitor the employees' actions, where the employee can be briefed to give the complete tips and complaints to the management about the malpractices. Third, she have to get in know with the suppliers, which are Surajams and the Dempa stones, while auditing the statement of the suppliers. Third, she have to take the further investigations and then follow up with the when the fraud is occur in order to get more information about the Tom's wrongdoings.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amin bin Muhammad Syahri, 26475. I will present the question 2. In the question 2, it say if Wei Mang were to blow the whistle, what will happen to her professionally and on a personal level? How will this incident change the mindset and behavior of employee with regard to committing and reporting frauds? Whistle or whistleblowing are commonly for fraud and listening about the government accountability project leads 4 ways to whistle on reporting violation, among others. Refuse to participate in the organization, testify in legal proceeding, and leak. late evidence of violations to the media. Research will involve people who are broadcasting the issue of activity frauds. The existence of a whistleblowing policy, even thought the way is legal and enforced, ban negara whistleblowing policy to detect and address improper conduct is through information provided by whistleblowers. Ban negara in several whistleblowers, namely employees, consultants, and vendors. The availability of the Whistleblower Protection Act 2010 encouraged stakeholders in the university to deal with illegal matters. Although blow whistle is a way to fight against deceptive activity, but there are disadvantages. Janice Bennett said a very risky proposition for an employee who would like to stay working at the company. In addition, the one application in whistleblowing will give the impression that Bennett once said most people who see that there are some wrongdoing often do not know the specific law that will apply. Professor at the University of Pennsylvania also pointed out in corporate law David skill that to create an atmosphere that allow people to fight against the activity using whistleblowing, but the reality is that we often suspect that when we report. Based on when main case with whistleblowing will affect she for such information. However, even Tam is concerned about his brothers, but Wei Mang will set she on treat safe information that rice will be stolen or unearthed to produce evidence of fraudulent activity. This situation will affect Wei Mang professionally, who found that was unable to minimize the future. That is blowing the whistle will also make it difficult for Wei Mang to complete proof. His time will be more careful in order not to track his fraudulent activities. Wei Mang and Tam are siblings. The blow the whistle gave a clear picture that Wei Mang was the investigator who successfully displayed Tam activity, resulting in the relationship between them will be badly improved because she was considered a threat to her own family, even if according to the right laws. Wei Mang will be more stressed and can reduce his motivation. Blow the whistle is one of the actions to counter the illegal activities. The whistleblowing can reduce suspicious behavior within the organization, as employees can report to superiors more quickly and effectively. As an example, employees who see suspicious activity in Kingjewels can be reported and investigate quickly. Employees will also be more afraid to commit fraud activity because anyone can report the activity to the responsible parties. Workers can increase their motivation when their voice can be heard directly to superiors, indirectly directing them to be more serious about countering illegal activities. In conclusion, research is an action that should look at the overall situation within the organization, so that every action taken can provide security and professional assurance to the individual.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurul Farzana binti Azmi 264754. So I'm going to present about question 3. So the question is, had the CEO been alert to all the facts, what action should he have taken and what would be the implications of his chosen actions? A. On his respective professional and personal relationship with Wyman, Ho, Ming and Tam. Firstly, the CEO should analyze the personal and company records. Then, he needs to consult with a fraud investigator to investigate the case by interviewing senior management position in the company. The purpose of the interview session is to obtain information on essential elements of the crime and collect further evidence. For example, during the interview, Jonathan Ho, as the head of production, should declare how the lower quality and lighter stones can be on the production lines. As the implication on the CEO action, the professional and personal relationship between Wong and senior management who became the suspect will be strained, since the whole senior management in Kingjewels is either his family or friends. The investigation also might create a hostile working environment between each other, and even the conflict will be dragged outside of work. B. On other staff at Kingjewels. It might happen in a company where most staff conspired and become the person who assists the perpetrator to commit the crime. So, obtaining evidence from employees' tip-off is one of the best ways to detect any other staff who are likely to behave suspiciously. In this case, it is important to gain evidence from the other employees in the production and authentication department about how long they know the quality stones have made their way to the manufacturing lines, and are they aware that the crisis happened without nobody willing to blow the whistle. As the implication from the CO action, it makes the staff aware of how the company views unethical behavior. It will become the lesson to others if disciplinary action or fire taken on the staff who seriously commit the fraud. Also, it will create a culture of where any offenders who against the company policy need to be punished. C. On Kingjewels supplier and customer. A further investigation needs to be taken against the supplier records to eliminate the bribery from company. For example, in this case, if Surajem and Denspa Stone were found guilty, the CO needs to take an action by replacing both of the supplier with another vendor. As the implication, it will add more conflict into the personal relationship between the CO and Tam, since the supplier is Tam's uncle and his close friend. However, this action will be able to maintain the reputation of the company's brand. For the customer, the CO should notify its customer an important notice due to the error and manufacturing quality problems. From the notice, it should come with the way how the products can be returned and provide the grading report if they choose to replace the item. As the implications, Kingjewels might lose its customer at the moment once the company notified them with this issue. However, this action will raise the company's image and values because it shows that the CEO is responsible of its customer right and acting honestly against the mistake. That's all from me. I will pass to our next presenter.
Good day everybody. My name is Madhu Dani Arivalagan. My metric number 264931. Today I would like to present my answers for question 4. And the question is, internal control is a part of management control system. So, what internal control mechanism could have been put in place to prevent this incident from happening? First of all, internal controls are systems and policies set by a company to maintain the integrity of accounting transactions, to encourage accountability, and to prevent fraud. Therefore, there are 4 internal control mechanisms that can be taken by Kingjewels to prevent this incident from occurring, namely the segregation of duties, authorization, physical controls, and proper documentation and records. The internal control mechanism that can be taken by Kingjewels is segregation of duties. Segregation of duties is an internal control designed to reduce the occurrence of fraud by ensuring that no employee has the ability to commit and conceal the fraud in the course of their duties. This is because Mr. Tam's main task is to act as an operational director as well as the head of germ sourcing department, which requires him to record the purchase transactions while approving such transactions. The situation shows that there was no segregation of duties among employees and creates the high possibility of manipulating the purchase transactions. However, if the senior leadership assigns different people to record the purchase transactions and to authorize such transactions, therefore they can prevent such fraud from occurring. The second internal control mechanism that can be implemented by the company is proper authorization. Proper authorization can prevent the invalid transactions from occurring. In this case, Kingjewels management should develop proper authorization policies that can prevent the invalid purchase transactions from occurring. This is because there were unusual purchase transactions were being recorded in the books as a result of less authorization practices being implemented in the company to approve such purchases. To overcome this problem, the management should establish policies within the company that provides the power to the senior officials to reconcile and authorize the purchase transactions based on signed contract terms and purchase orders. Therefore, the practices could prevent unethical staffs from manipulating the purchase transactions. The third internal control that can be taken by the company is physical control. Physical controls over the asset and records can protect the company's asset. In this case, Kingjewels management should establish physical controls over the payments made from credit cards in order to protect the company's fund in the bank accounts. This is because Mr. Tam might have transferred funds from the company's credit card for his personal gain and manipulated the purchase transactions to hide such embezzled funds. To overcome this issue, the company should implement physical control measures to limit the use of company credit card and review the credit card payments to ensure that the payments were business related. Therefore, this kind of control will secure the company's asset, especially funds from employees' embezzlement. The last internal control mechanism that can be implemented by the company is proper documentation and records. In this case, Kingjewels management should develop a comprehensive documentation and records that can offer an audit trail to investigate any unusual purchase transactions and to record such transactions. This is because several purchase transactions were made without supporting documents like bill of lading and reports of shipment. Therefore, we need to overcome this issue by establishing accounting policies to ensure that all documents related to the purchase transactions, such as purchase orders and vendors' invoice, were properly documented in the books. Therefore, these documents could be useful in reviewing and reconciling the purchase transactions in order to ensure proper authorization. That's all from me. Thank you.
Now we move to the next question, which is apart from problem with terms and whole professional behavior, identify and discuss any structural and cultural issue contributing to the situation. Now I will explain about the difference between organization structure and also culture. So the structure is defined as the attitude, framework or strategies that could make an environment to the company. Why? For the culture is the behavior or attitude of the person or member in company. So basically, both of these are needed in one company to ensure their company is successful. So now we move to the first point, which is leadership style. So from the cases, one of the director, which is Jonathan Ho, basically used dictatorial style of leadership, which is when he make a decision, he does not include the employee. So the employee does not participate in the decision making, which is can make his employee does not have freedom, cannot be creative or innovative. That can make Kingjewels is not effective and also rigid. So basically, employee cannot give any opinion or any their point of view for any decision making, and also when they also cannot give any objection when there is someone committing an offense. Okay, the next point, which is could lead to the situation. So basically about the task orientation. Task orientation is important as this system could increase employee knowledge and also experience, but Kingjewels does not implement this system. So from this, we can see that employee does not have courage to tell about the fraud commit to the quality of the jobs. So we can imagine that if they do task orientation and employee move from the production department to the quality department, basically they have courage to tell about the fraud because they have experience about the germs and also have a knowledge about the quality of the germs. Besides, rules are not being strict. One of the reasons that unethical issue could arise. Basically, Kingjewels should implement strict rules that must be obeyed by the employee or even for the director itself to ensure that there is no offense or fraud happen in the company. But from the preceding case, there is no punishment to the perpetrator. So basically, the members or employee could freely do the fraud or commit an offense to their personal interest without worrying about the punishment. So basically, Kingjewels must have a strict rules for their company. Lastly, document filing should have a proper procedure, and the person in charge to keep the document must be strict about the document to ensure there is no missing or delay to give the document to them. And basically, the document must be tally with the transaction happen in the organization. So, if the Kingjewels does not have a strict procedure about the filing of the document, it can make an employee easy to do or commit an offense because there is lack of attention to the document filing. So basically, that's all from my point. Thank you.